My wife and I were on a flight back from Vegas, and we met a model and host you would definitely recognize if you saw her face, but probably not if I said her name. She's the kind of minor celebrity you meet all the time in LA. And like all minor celebrities, she wanted to take the next step in her career. We talked for the hour flight from Vegas to LA, and eventually I asked her what she wanted to be. If she didn't want to be a model or host doing nightclubs in Vegas anymore, what did she want to be? And then I dropped the hammer. It's the question that I ask that stumps just about everybody. And it stumped her too. The question was, what are you doing right now to move from where you are to where you want to be? She didn't know what to say. And that's not uncommon. Most people don't even know where they want to be, and they don't know who they want to be like. So it's impossible to make conscious choices to get there. Luckily, I had a couple of glasses of wine in me and I was feeling pretty good about life. So I broke it all down for her. The steps to go from modeling and hosting club events to interviewing celebrities and hosting television shows on a massive scale. Now, I told her what she should do, but this can be used to do anything, anywhere, with any line of business. And since I only have one day to record this between my flight from Vegas to here and my flight from here to AwesomeCon, where I will be when this goes live, this seems like the absolute perfect thing to cover for this week. So here it is, my step-by-step guide to getting from where you are in life to finding out what you want to be, and then making a plan to get there. All right, so step one in this process is to decide where you are right now. Most people don't take this step seriously, but it is so important. There are skills that you currently have which will serve you well in whatever you do moving forward. It might be logistics, it might be social media, it might be marketing, it might be budgeting, it might be building websites, it might be writing, it could be anything. But you have certain skills that are going to help you move from where you are now to where you want to be. So I need you to make a list of them. You should make a list on one side of hard skills and the other side of soft skills. Hard skills are things like budgeting. That's a hard skill. You can go into a job market right now and put budgeting on your resume and it will land you jobs. A soft skill is something like interpersonal skills or being really buff. I know that sounds silly, but if you wanted to be Lou Ferrigno, you would need to be very strong. So that's a soft skill. That's a skill that may not have any value on the job market, but it can help you be a good employee or be a good action movie star or be a good singer. These are things that are going to help you move forward from where you are now to where you want to be. All right, so once you have that list, it's time to figure out who you want to be. Now, you could also flip this, decide who you want to be first, and then decide where you are and what skills that you have, but I always like to decide where I am first and then figure out who you want to be. And this is because by listing out your soft and hard skills, it might give you some idea of who would be perfectly suited to be your celebrity avatar. And I know what you're thinking. There's nobody like me. I'm going to be my own thing. Ugh. Get over yourself right now. The reason we're doing this, who you want to be like, and doing a celebrity avatar is because every celebrity is so different. Look, if you're going to be Rachel Ray, it's a lot different than being Bruce Willis. They're both celebrities, and both of those are very different than being Mark Cuban. So even though you are a special snowflake, there are other snowflakes who are like yours. Not exactly like you, but close enough that you can shoot for being that snowflake. And we do that because the path to success is in modeling other successful people. So if you want to be like Rachel Ray, Martha Stewart, it's going to be very different, your path and what you should focus on and where you should focus your attention, than if you wanted to be Jean-Claude Van Damme and Bruce Willis. And now we're on to step 3, which is to make a list of all of the celebrities' hard and soft assets and then compare them to yours. Here's why we do that. Each celebrity is going to have a very different set of hard assets. If you want to be Rachel Ray, it's going to be very different than being Anthony Bourdain. They are two very different celebrities who've built their business speaking to a very specific type of person. And so by making a list of your celebrities' hard and soft assets, it does two things. First, it gives you a list of skills that you will have to acquire if you want to be like that celebrity. It also shows you what you already have that is like that celebrity, so you can check things off and circle things on your own list to show that you need to work on specific things or that you may already have specific things, and then you can strengthen those strengths and work on those weaknesses. But more importantly, it tells you how reasonable your ideal celebrity is. Look, you don't want to pick somebody that is so far outside of your comfort zone that you're going to have to work for years just to get okay. You want to pick somebody that has a lot of your strengths already. So to go back to our food example, I'm never going to be Rachel Ray. Not because I'm not a woman, but because I'm just not folksy, not great at explaining things on camera. I'm just not like her personality-wise. I'm also definitely not as cheery as her. However, Anthony Bourdain, well, no, that's a guy I could probably be like. I like eating at nice restaurants. I like traveling to new places. I'm pretty acerbic. I have a very dry wit. I could probably model Anthony Bourdain, and I can definitely model Anthony Bourdain way easier than I could Rachel Ray. So, you want to pick a celebrity that you can model your strengths after, because you want to then look back and see how they got their start and how they made their rise. And that's going to be what you model your own success off of and how you're going to go from point A to point B to point C to point D. So, for instance, if I was going to model myself off Anthony Bourdain, I would want to go and be an apprentice or a sous chef at a 5-star restaurant. I'd want to learn everything I could about cooking. I'd want to work on my personality so that I could be good on camera. I'd want to start my own travel show. I'd want to guest on podcasts and have my own podcast. I would want to become ingrained in the high-end scene of cooking and food. And once I had all that, I would have a plan of how to get from step one, which is I'm not even a cook, to I'm now Anthony Bourdain. You're probably not going to reach a level of success, but that's okay. You want at each stage someone to say, I feel confident giving this opportunity to this person because they've earned it. So if you want to be a travel channel or a Food Network host, you have to show them that you can be the host of a travel show. And you can do that by having a travel show or having a podcast or working at a restaurant. All of these are steps to having your own show on the Food Network. And you can't really skip. Sometimes you can skip. Some people are lucky, but for the majority of people, you have to do each step along the way. If you want to be a professional comic artist, generally you have to do your own comics. You can't just get found anymore. You have to do your own indie comics. And in order to do that, you have to learn how to draw really, really well. And in order to draw really, really well, you probably have to take classes or go to school. If you want to be a writer and you want to get onto the New York Times bestseller list, there are other rules. But by picking a specific celebrity and exactly where you want to be, you're going to be able to model back how their career has worked. And then what you need to work on in order to make each step along the way so that you can be successful too. All right, so now that you have their skills, their weaknesses, their strengths, their hard and soft skills, now it's time to plot their celebrity career path. What I mean by that is you need to get in front of a computer, go to Wikipedia, do some Google searches, see where your celebrity started, where they ended, and every step along the way, because you are going to follow roughly that path. Now, that's not to say things are going to go exactly the way that it went for them, but if they worked at a 5-star restaurant, you probably need to figure out how to work at a 5-star restaurant. If they started a podcast, you probably need to start a podcast. Every step that they take are steps that you are going to want to take. It's going to become your roadmap. Step 5 is pretty simple. You're going to have to work on the skills you need in order to accomplish the goals that you have set out. So if the first step is become a sous chef at a 5-star restaurant, you may have to go to cooking school. Or at least you may have to learn how to cook really, really well in order to get into a 3-star restaurant, then a 4-star restaurant, then a 5-star restaurant. But you are going to have to work on all of those skills you need to move your career to the next level. But the great news is now you have a roadmap. You know where you want to end up. You know where you are now. And now it's just plotting along how to make step after step after step after step to grow your business and get to where you want to be. All right, now step 6, while you're working to those goals, you are going to be acquiring assets. You may already have assets. Assets will be people that can help you move your career forward. They may be friends from high school who are already chefs. They may be people that you meet while you are learning how to be a comic book artist. But these are people that can help move your career forward so that when you get to those higher tiers, let's say it's time to become an artist for DC because you've already gotten a lot of regular work and a lot of, lower indie work and a lot of top 5 work, but not big 2 work. You can then exploit those people to help you. And by exploit, I don't mean use them. I mean, they are assets of yours. You are friendly. You are helping them. They are helping you. And you can then use them to help further your career. And then they can use you to help further their career. But it's a mutually beneficial relationship. So you're going to want to make a list of those assets that you have as you're gathering and make sure that you're fostering those people. Make sure that you're doing it genuinely too. These are people that you want to actually talk to, that you actually want to be friends with. But you're going to want to foster those relationships because eventually you may need them. For instance, this nice lady who's the host and model, she is friends with Travis Barker. She's friends with Phil Ivey. She's friends with a lot of celebrities. So she wanted to start a YouTube show where she was interviewing people, which is what I told her she should do. She can go and call on her friends. And so when she's interviewing Travis Barker for her show, he can bring in a lot of his fans. She can bring in some of her fans. And they can both sort of swap audiences. It's a win-win scenario. When she interviews other people, they may have books coming out. They may have movies coming out. They may have a tour coming out. She can help promote them on her show. And as she becomes more famous, it turns from she using the people to help exploit her show, and now they are using her to help exploit their project. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship, and you will have those too as you grow inside of your career. I was just asked by a friend of mine to record a intro to one of his Kickstarter videos because I've been on Kickstarter a lot. A lot of people know me. Just by me being there on that video, it gave him authority and it made the project more legitimate. Again, that was exploitative of me by him to bring my audience and bring my authority to his project. But that's okay because we're friends. That's okay because at some point I may need something from him. And then that's how friendship works. It's a give and take. So you need to be cultivating these assets as you grow. Now, you might have some of these assets now, but I don't want you to use them now because you're not ready. The reason I put this so far down the list is you're not ready to use those assets right now. You're ready to use them when you've gone a few steps up the ladder, when you can't get any further yourself or you're having problems pushing yourself forward. That's when you can use these assets to jettison you to the next level. So wait on them, wait until you're ready. And then when you use them, maybe they're on your podcast or maybe they're on your YouTube show, or maybe they're just giving you a kudos. They're doing it because they want to instead of because you're sort of forcing their hand. And then finally, step 7 is just lather, rinse, repeat. You're going to keep working towards that goal. Sometimes it's going to change. Sometimes it's going to move. Sometimes you're going to realize that you were crazy and that was the wrong celebrity to model yourself after because your audience and their audience really don't mesh. Or maybe it's too hard to speak in their voice. And eventually you're going to find your way. But you have that roadmap for success now. You'll be able to know what projects to follow, where to move away from. And sometimes you might see a project that you really love and say, I'm going to take a risk and develop my own path. And that's okay. But remember that these celebrities have multiple streams of fame, but they all broke in one way, through one specific kind of fame. And before you can branch out and do 100 things well, you want to do one thing exceptionally well. You want to follow that initial niche until success. And with that, wannabes and creators, I will see you next time. Have a great day.